My story begins in the worst winter of my life. It may also have been the worst winter of your life, because it was the winter when we got 101.6 inches of snow. It was 2 winters ago. And I remember every last inch of it because I was standing at every last inch of it, getting on the news and telling you it's still snowing. So I really needed to reboot after that winter, and truthfully, the only thing that was getting me through it was the promise of a vacation at the end of February. It was my chance to unplug and relax and reboot, and I couldn't wait to go. So what better vacation than a vacation to the Caribbean? And what better vacation to the Caribbean than a vacation with my boyfriend? And what better vacation with my boyfriend than with my boyfriend's parents, right? So at that point, we had been dating for 1 year, and I have to say, I got along with them really, really well. But the thing is, when you go on a trip with somebody and you spend time with them and you're staying in the same rooms with them, that takes it up a notch. So I wanted to relax, but I also wanted to make a good impression, of course. I had never been to the Caribbean before, so I was very excited to go. And we finally arrive. It's my chance to relax. And I have to tell you, if you've never been to St. John, it's like every postcard you've ever seen. Beautiful aqua, clear waters, white sand beaches, stunning views. It was the most beautiful place I'd ever seen in my life. So on our very first day there, my boyfriend and I and his parents get a boat to go sailing around the island. And I remember looking around and taking it all in, and his mother's sunbathing on the deck and his father's having drinks. We're having the best time. And I remember thinking to myself, what was I so worried about? We're having a great time, and this is off to a wonderful start. We put our anchor down, and we decide we're going to go snorkeling. I had never gone snorkeling before, but I was so ready to jump right in. So they fit me with my goggles, and I put a snorkel in my mouth, and I put on my fins, and we jump right in. And I put my head under the water, and it's a whole new world down there. I was so captivated by these tropical fish I'd never seen. And I just remember tuning it all out. I can't hear that much, but I'm starting to follow fish, and I kind of get into my own little world down there, and I'm getting kind of swept away. And by swept away, I mean I'm actually kind of getting taken away by some water. And I remember hearing out of my ears that are somewhat underwater, the captain of the boat send out one last kind of advice. And he calls out to me from the boat, "Danielle, just remember, don't touch anything." Except it didn't happen quite like that. It was like out of a scene of a movie. You couldn't script it even better than this, because he starts to yell, "Danielle, don't touch." And before he gets out the word anything, I let out this blood-curdling scream from underwater with the snorkel mask still in. All these bubbles are coming up. And this next part is also like a movie, but the movie I'm thinking of is Carrie, where in the last scene of the movie, you know how she sticks her hand up from the ground, from the grave, and it's all bloody and scary? My hand came up from the water, up above the waves, all bloody, very scary, because my hand is full of these big black spikes, 50 of them. I accidentally brushed up against a rock that had a giant sea urchin on it. And not the kind of sea urchins we see in Maine that are kind of like rough but not scary. These ones are about the size of basketballs with giant spikes. And their defense mechanism when something brushes up against them is to inject you with all of its spikes. I had 50 of them in my hand. And so I immediately start screaming, crying. I'm so upset. I get taken back to the boat. I'm sobbing. And as we're trying to pick out these giant spikes, the blood is running down my hand. My hand is swelling up faster than you can believe. And it's also turning blue, because that's what happens when these spikes get in your hand. So we're all Googling as fast as we can, sea urchin injuries, and there's nothing online about that. So we have to, as soon as we get to paradise, we have to go back to the mainland. We have to go to a health clinic. I have to be told how to treat this injury. And instead of a big, relaxing, wonderful vacation, the doctor's orders is to stay still, soak your hand in boiling hot vinegar, and that's going to dissolve these things in my hand. So that's how I spent the rest of my vacation. I was so worried about how his parents would react to this. I remember crying so hard because I was so upset with myself for, on the very first day, ruining this vacation they so graciously asked me to join them on. I felt so badly about that. And I don't think that I mentioned that at the time we were snorkeling, my boyfriend was wearing a GoPro camera, and he was rolling on the whole thing and caught the entire episode on camera. This was incredibly embarrassing to me. The other thing that the doctors didn't really tell me at the time was that this was actually a long-term injury. This was going to take several months to recover from. My hand was so swollen, blue. They looked like each finger was a little Italian sausage, like they were that big. And I couldn't do anything by myself. We're talking cutting food, washing hair, buttoning the button on my pants, everything I needed help with. But you really bond with somebody when you have to do that, as you can imagine. So maybe we didn't share a lot of drinks together on this relaxing, rebooting island vacation, but we all shared some painful memories, but funny memories talking about this entire ordeal. I was so worried about what they would think and how they would react to this, but looking back on it, when I got hurt, the first person to jump off the boat and swim out to me was my boyfriend's father. And when I was at the doctor's office, laying on the table in an very compromising position, it was his mother who was holding my hand as a doctor was cutting my hand to try and pull the pieces out. They were the first people to help me out and make sure that I was okay. So maybe it wasn't the reboot and the kind of vacation that I was hoping for, but it was the vacation that really did change my relationship with them and gave me a lot of memories I still carry with me to this day. And I carry them because there are still 2 pieces of sea urchin spines in this hand.